I'm going to stop it. I just read the comments. I was getting my lunch, and then I looked back and. Well, it is. All right. So I apologize for that. I do not delight in showing you animals getting messed with, although it does show up. But this seemed to have a lot of it, and so I apologize. And I was thinking like naturalist. I was like, is this nudist? Nudist, and that's naturists. So if it was a naturist paradise, it would just be a bunch of naked people playing volleyball. But this was purportedly like, oh, here's, people that study animals. But no, this was just people hunting things and messing with them. All right, let's purge all this away with some French that we can all learn together. Enjoy.
Margot est fatiguée. Elle est montée dans sa chambre. Et me voici, seul, avec tous nos souvenirs. Nous voici sur la place de la Cathédrale. C'est bien une petite place provinciale, et si calme. La cathédrale est encore plus majestueuse par comparaison avec les vieilles petites maisons de pierre. Oui. La cathédrale est vraiment majestueuse, et l'on dit que ses vitraux sont d'une grande beauté. Des vitraux, qu'est-ce que c'est? Les fenêtres des cathédrales sont faites de verre de plusieurs couleurs. Ce sont les vitraux. Voyez, ici, et ici. Pourquoi les deux flèches et les deux clochers sont-ils si différents? Ils ont été bâtis à des époques différentes. L'ensemble est beau tout de même. C'est par miracle que la cathédrale a échappé aux destructions de la guerre. Est-ce que vous commencez à vous y connaître dans les styles d'architecture? Ce portail est du style gothique, du début de la période. Les statues de ce portail sont remarquables. Les détails sont superbes. Regardez celle-ci. Quel saint représente-t-elle? Ce doit être Saint Jean-Baptiste. Et là, Melchisédek, Abraham, David, Moïse. Quel détail remarquable. Et ce sont toutes des scènes bibliques ou historiques. Et celle-ci, d'après les photographies que j'ai vues, ce doit être Dieu créant le ciel et la terre. Et là, à côté, vous voyez Dieu créant la lune et le soleil. Et cet homme si fatigué, qui est-ce? La statue représente Dieu créant le jour et la nuit. Et à côté, Dieu créant les oiseaux, voit Adam dans sa pensée. Il me faut une photographie des statues de ce portail. Restez ici si vous voulez. Je reviens dans un instant.
I mentioned I'm Skip Elsheimer, and this is the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show where we watch old 16mm films. Did I mention that, or was I just right off the bat apologizing? Again, I apologize. Here's another short film, maybe to help kind of wipe the slate clean. Here's old recipes and new methods. Thanks to the people at Real Lemon. Enjoy.
Finding an old cookbook can be like finding long-lost buried treasure. Those well-worn pages can bring back nostalgic memories of the wonderful dishes Grandma used to prepare. But sometimes it raises that old challenge about women these days not being able to cook like Grandma used to. Now, maybe one of these old sauce recipes might be something to try. Add 3/4 of a gill of white wine and strain in 1½ gills of the gravy. But hold on a minute. What's a gill? No gill measurers in the house? Well, might as well read on anyway. Season with a dash of cayenne pepper and a pinch of salt, adding a raw egg yolk and the juice of half a sound lemon. Well, now that's just dandy. A sound lemon. Does that mean a big juicy one? Or just an average one? Or does it have something to do with the difference in lemon strengths? Looks like Grandma had to do a lot of guessing with these recipes. And what about the bother and mess, and yes, even the waste involved, using that old-fashioned juice squeezer? Anyway, that old squeezer will probably be a valuable antique before too long. Well, what else does the recipe have to say? Set the saucepan on the corner of the range at... Now, wait a minute. That did it. The corner of the range. That must be referring to an old coal or wood range. Now, how does a modern woman do all this with her up-to-date methods? Perhaps all it takes is a little translation. Now, what about this gill business? Liquid measure equal to 1/4 of a pint. Well then, a gill must be the same as 1/2 a measuring cup. Now, what about that juice of 1/2 a sound lemon? Well, any modern woman who knows her way around the kitchen has the answer to that. Reconstituted lemon juice always has the same uniform strength. And of course, there's no messy, wasteful squeezing to be done. Since 1 ounce of this bottled lemon juice is equal to that of 1 average-sized lemon, with her measuring spoons, she can follow that recipe with precision. This modern housewife isn't going to be stumped by any reference to cooking on the corner of the range. She can adjust that modern range of hers to any precise heat she wants, right down to the slowest, even simmer. Even the timing of her cooking is a matter of simple precision these days. You know, when it comes right down to it, that's the main difference between Grandma's cooking years ago and cooking as it's done today. Precision, uniformity, and convenience. Grandma may have been a pretty good guesser with her pinches of this and dashes of that and her rituals on the old coal range. But we kind of wonder if Grandma's dishes ever turned out exactly the same way twice. With today's homemaker, cooking is more than an art. It's a science. Even the little homemakers of the future seem to be getting the idea. Now, she knows how she likes her lemonade. And even she knows how to make it that way every time. We suspect she'll grow up to like old cookbooks too. But we'll bet she does things with old recipes that Grandma never dreamed possible.
Than I thought it was going to be. I'm right here eating. Sorry. God, that Skip says sorry a lot today. Here's a film on the scanner right here called Urban Alternatives. Enjoy.
It's pretty obvious that our cities have problems, real problems. We can all see the crowding, the decay, the confusion, and ugliness. It's easy to complain about the way the city is now, but what do we think it should be? The city is a man-made environment. This is where most of us live and work. Over the years, people built this urban environment, and they built it for other people to use and enjoy. For decades, well-intentioned efforts at urban renewal have attempted to make this environment more suitable for the use and enjoyment of people. Many of these efforts failed. If housing downtown decayed, build new housing somewhere else. If a little land was left over, plant grass, call it a park. If it took too long to get to work, build more freeways, parking lots. But this approach to urban problems hasn't worked. If the city is to be the kind of human environment we all want it to be, some alternatives are required. In response to the failures of the past and the challenges of the present, a new profession has evolved. These are architects, urban planners, designers, landscape architects, sociologists, traffic engineers, and others, and they're working together as a team. They call themselves urban environmentalists, and their work is to bring positive change to the city in many kinds of ways. A city is always being changed and adapted in response to the needs of the people who use it. What these people are trying to do is to ensure that the changes are really improvements and that the changes are the things the community wants. They work on shopping centers, housing developments, parks, and entirely new communities. They study entire municipal areas or small neighborhoods. They plan where new growth should happen and where things ought to be left alone. By working together, they can develop ways for recycling the decayed core of an old city or plan a small neighborhood park. But whatever they do, they think about the needs of the community, about the things people say they want in their city. The result is change. And in small ways, in cities all over the country, things are happening that make the city a more humane environment, a place people can even enjoy. There are a number of basic problems facing almost every American city, and streets like this one are one of them. For many of us, this is the only place we have to go shopping. You've got to have a car to drive from one store to the next, from one stoplight to the next. It's ugly, chaotic, and inefficient, but it's all that is available in many cities in this country. Like so many of our urban mistakes, it wasn't really planned, it just happened. There are several good alternatives to the commercial strip, and this is one of them. It's possible to make shopping areas very pleasant, attractive places for us to use, like this mall in Columbia, Maryland. It draws people from 30 miles away, people who could shop at nearer conventional places but who like this environment much better.
You know, the best way to see what people like is to watch people, to go to similar establishments and see what they're doing, see what is lacking. The best way to learn is to build on other people's mistakes and to study if something is successful, exactly what makes it successful and how can we make it even more so. The mall seems to be tremendously successful. There are people there really genuinely having fun, enjoying the space and what it has to offer, almost completely aside from the shops and stores that form the space. It almost becomes a recreational facility.
This kind of mall isn't the perfect answer to every commercial street in every city, but it is one alternative.
I think we have over-relied upon one mode of transportation, that is the car. We've completely relied upon the automobile, to the detriment of other more intelligent ways of moving people around the city. To me, that's the problem. You could say that historically the cities have been shaped by the kinds of transportation modes that we've relied upon. It was primarily pedestrian, say in the last century, and then the streetcar came along and really affected the cities. And now we're into the automobile. So when you have an automobile city, you know, everything is accessible and there's no logic to land planning. And so it's just all this, it's complete sameness throughout the entire city and complete sprawl. Now we need automobiles. We just think that other things should be included in the pie.
A city needs all kinds of transportation facilities. Each mode has its own requirements. Pedestrians can move about in safety if their needs are considered. But we need buses, bikes, cars, and rapid transit to make sure that all the people are able to move around in their environment.
If you find that one car can carry one person and one bus can carry 40 people, it will be a much better alternative to utilize a bus from a system standpoint.
In many cities, alternative forms of transportation have been allowed to decay as the automobile dominated the urban pattern. Often, bus service was the first victim. But a few years ago, bus service on this major commute route was improved to attract people out of their cars. This is the peak of the rush hour, yet traffic moves swiftly because each bus replaces 40 cars.
An alternative would be just like they're trying to do with BART. That's a fantastic alternative. And if that can work in many other cities in the country, I think we can have a much better city.
This is BART, the Bay Area Rapid Transit System, the first rapid rail system built in this country in 60 years. It links the major communities of the San Francisco Bay Area. Other cities are either building or planning similar systems, and already fast, efficient, economical rapid transit is changing patterns of growth in urban communities.
An unfortunate consequence that we're faced with in development today in cities is the destruction of some of our fine, really fine old buildings. Buildings with a heritage and good design. Now, you can't save all of those. You can't always keep those buildings. You can't save everything, but certainly we could be much more discriminating in our removal. I don't always like restoration. Restoration, to me, means to return it to its original appearance, almost as a museum piece. I like the idea of recycling. That way it doesn't end the life of the building. The life of the building continues, and it may house a different function, but essentially it's a new, useful, and up-to-date function and activity happening within an old structure. And you kind of get the combination of the old and new. rather than just a dead monument. Ghirardelli Square was designed to be the backdrop or a stage set for people's activities. It was an attempt to take existing buildings and recycle rather than restore those buildings. Keep the history and the tradition of those buildings, but apply new, up-to-date, modern functions within their walls, and thereby keep the thing current, keep the thing alive today, but very much attached with its past and its history. And it serves as a set. It gives a lot of opportunities and choices to the participants. When you go to Ghirardelli Square, you become a participant. You take part in something there. You utilize the set.
Too often, there is no refuge from the noise and activity of the city street. No places to rest, to eat lunch, to enjoy the sunshine, or just visit.
For every car, every automobile, we should have one tree, and for every truck, we should have 2 trees planted, just to try and overcome some of the pollution problem. I happen to be interested in the planting that goes on, but I need to work with designers so that we can do it together. If they're developing a certain area or interested in making some alternate suggestions on a solution, we work together and we talk about it so that the plants are very much a part of the overall design. Plants in an urban environment are carefully chosen to solve the particular problems. If there's wind or salt air or problem soils, the plants have to be chosen that will survive these local conditions. I think we need growing things to balance our lives. We need open space and trees and grass and flowers to offset the paving and the walls and the noise and the confusion. Everybody needs a chance to be quiet and sit down and just do nothing, to daydream. I think it's a part of our lives. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing nothing once in a while.
This is urban sprawl. Individual houses, all alike, squeezed onto the smallest legal lot. There's no public open space, no trees left, no natural features of the landscape left after the bulldozers. It's a very poor way to use land and to house people. People want and need a lot more from their residential communities, but all they get from the traditional development is shelter.
We know people want more than the kind of housing that we find in most cities today. The traditional way really abuses the landscape, and sometimes this is our fault. Our building laws forces developers to build in repetitive patterns, the same lot size and the same kind of house on each lot. And it takes an educated public to force our local governments to provide laws which can allow the developer to build in more creative ways than what is generally available today. But with this new kind of approach, one can rearrange the whole bag of requirements that you need in housing, and rearrange it in a creative way where you could be responsive to the natural features of the site, as well as to be very responsive to all the needs that people have who live in that housing area.
This is Reston, Virginia, a very different kind of residential community. Reston was designed to do much more than provide housing for its residents. The design of the community was based on an intelligent land use plan. Houses are clustered together, which leaves vast areas of undisturbed trees and meadows for recreation and views. Reston, unlike most residential communities, has a beautiful central plaza. People walk here to shop, visit the library or post office, or to have dinner in a restaurant. Reston is a planned environment for people, but it is an environment designed to harmonize with nature.
Good things in cities do not happen automatically. It takes great deliberation and public commitment. Public commitment to a new attitude, a quality of living, a willingness to work for positive change. It takes greater participation to produce the good results that you see in Reston, Virginia.
It's easy to complain about our cities, about the crowding, the confusion, decay, and noise, but there are alternatives to the problems, and it's possible to make our cities livable, even beautiful environments for all of us. Change in a city is constant, and with public commitment and involvement, that change can mean continuous improvement. But people will have to become much more involved in this process of change, more involved in the design of their own environments if it's ever to happen. And maybe this involvement is the most important urban alternative. Urban Alternatives, a film by Hans Halberstadt. Music by Riley McLaughlin. We wish to thank Lawrence Halpern and Associates, urban planners and designers of New York and San Francisco, for their great cooperation and assistance.
Um, 50 years old too. So what if that has changed? We were in San Francisco, Katrina and I, and we didn't get a chance to ride public transportation, but I know that it is in a state of disrepair, like most public transportation, because people didn't feel the need to continue building that infrastructure to keep it going. And so it kind of shows its age, which is too bad, because BART, man, in the 90s, BART was awesome. To go to like Oakland and go to Berkeley, and it's just really sweet. And the Muni system also really great. But anyways, all right. So we have a longer film we're showing here, which is based on a short story. We have some of those, and so this one's about 30 minutes long, but it's contemporary circa the 70s. It's called 6 Feet of a Country. Enjoy.
This is our farm, 20 miles out of Johannesburg. It's not really a farm, it's a cottage. It's not really a cottage, it's a room and a kitchen and a bathroom that we built onto an old stable on 50 acres we bought from a farmer friend.
Hi. You're just in time, we need you. Where does the lemon tree go? Here? There?
How about that?
What about there? Hey, what you got there?
Yes, sir. Yes. You can pick it up coffee. Yes, what?
Is there a ring?
It's the first home we've ever owned. It happened quite simply. One night, Larice told me that she wanted a divorce. We spoke until dawn until we knew that our need was not a divorce, but a change in the quality of our lives. She told me that when she was 12, she helped deliver a calf. Her father was a farmer. He let her put her arm deep into the cow. She felt the warmth, the wet, the animal moving inside the animal, and she was never again afraid of blood. Our talk reminded her that this had happened. The rut of our lives in the suburbs of Johannesburg and her work in the commercial theater had helped her to forget. So we chose a farm, or rather she chose, and I provided. Because it was my way of keeping her. I own a travel agency. I don't like animals, and I haven't the patience to wait for plants to show. It began as our weekend home, Friday to Monday morning, but it changed. She would not, no, could not come home. And I knew that I must wait. It's not as though she was unhappy. In fact, she was radiant. She just would not come to town. I waited because I sensed how fragile she was inside and how she was changing. Both made me nervous.
I love them. They're so warm, so generous, so private.
We gathered a few cows and grew lucerne, which we sold, and herbs and vegetables, which we ate and shared. And Larice's hands became as hard as a dog's pads. Some nights when business was heavy, or I suppose when I just didn't feel like the farm, I stayed at our flat in town. But it wasn't often. We needed to sleep together. Hey. What's happening?
It's nothing. Go back to sleep.
What's the matter?
It's Albert. He says someone's sick.
Where?
At the compound.
Have you got your gun?
Shh. No, I haven't.
What?
No, I haven't.
So what the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm going to see what I can do.
I tell you, Will, you come back to bed.
I'm going. If you want to come, come.
Wait a minute. What's the time?
I don't know.
5 o'clock, my boss.
Which boy is it?
He's too sick, my boss.
Please, come on.
The Pietrus.
Why Pietrus?
Have you heard Pietrus cough?
It isn't Pietrus.
The hell is this all about?
It isn't me, boss. I don't know. Pietrus, he sent me to call for the missus.
Just wait, you'll see in a minute.
happened to him?
Why didn't you tell me he was sick?
Beatrice, who was this boy?
He is my brother, my boss.
What is he doing here?
He came from Rhodesia to look for work.
You knew about him?
Why didn't you tell me he was sick?
Why the hell didn't you tell me he was here?
What's the difference? Look at him.
How many times has this happened?
What happened? People dying?
Oh, shut up. You know what I mean. Beatrice, you know I can. The missus can go to jail for having someone here who shouldn't be.
I'm going back to the house.
Right, just leave the dirty work to me.
Beatrice.
Mrs.?
I'll have to notify the health authorities. The hospital. The police. We don't know why he's dead. We can all get sick. Larice!
I'm sorry. I knew he was here. I didn't know he was sick. I was going to ask you if we could keep him. I'm sorry.
Thank you. And I do all the dirty work.
I've said that before. Tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Well, thank you. That's all I need.
Why didn't they tell me he was sick?
Let's go into that one again.
Please. I only knew he was here because I noticed him. He was so finely made. He had such a lovely face.
Violins, please. Just have your drink.
God. Careful. You know, I'm glad it happened. Our argument out there. Be careful. Please. Just try. You might be able to understand something new. At least about me.
Uhuru. They're getting their uhuru there. What do they want with us? I hate to say it when your coffee is so nice. But do you know the penalty for harboring an illegal immigrant?
Yes, Lieutenant, I'm sorry. This is just our weekend cottage.
It's your property. It's your responsibility. It's your duty. You got to know exactly what's happening at all times, especially these times. I'm talking for your own good. How many men has passed through your property? And what kind of men? You say it's his brother. Everybody is their brother. We're not dealing with laborers, chochis, and thieves. He could be a terrorist man. It's for your own good. Have you got a gun?
Yes.
And your wife?
Yes.
Does she know how to use it?
Yes.
You wouldn't say it. Isn't she an actress?
Hey, julle kom vat hier so ek sê.
Beatrice. Beatrice. Look. Albert and Philemon are here to carry your brother. The police are taking him away.
Police? Why?
Well, the boss told you. We don't know why he died. We could all get sick.
But we saw him.
They have to open him.
Open him, Mrs.
I'm sorry, but that's how they do it. I think it was pneumonia. You know, a very bad cold.
flu.
Yeah, like flu.
We heard nothing for 4 days. Every day Beatrice asked, and every day my secretary phoned from the office.
Ah, Lieutenant Franzell? Mr. Carter's secretary again. Any news? Okay. Thanks, Lieutenant. Bye. No news yet, Mr. Carter. He says the delay's because of the riots.
After more than a week, I received all the news.
Thanks, Lieutenant. Bye. He phoned me, Mr. Carter. He says it was pneumonia and everything's been taken care of. The body's buried. I'll phone your wife so she can tell the boy.
Beatrice! Beatrice!
Yeah, Beatrice. The missus was right. It was the cold, so we won't get sick.
Goed, me, boss. Then, when can I fetch my brother?
Did you ask the missus?
No, boss.
The missus didn't tell you?
No, boss. It's my day off today. I never saw the missus.
I'll find out, Beatrice. Bloody hell. Look, Beatrice, you can't fetch your brother. The police have done it already. They buried him. You understand?
Where?
You see, he was from Rhodesia. He was a stranger. They didn't know you were his brother. So they buried him in their place.
Please, boss. The boss must ask them for him.
Can I? They buried him already. Christ!
Oh, please, boss.
I'm sorry they won't listen to me. They can't. I'm sorry I can't do it.
My boss? My father is here from Rhodesia.
Your father?
No, my boss. He has a permit. He has come for the funeral.
Hello. Can I please speak to Lieutenant Franzell, please? Hello, Lieutenant. It's you. This is Estelle Lindemann speaking. Please send me over a glass of water. I think I'm going to faint. What do you mean? What do I mean? I got through to you first shot. Anyhow, any news? Oh, no shame. Just hang on a second. Mr. Carter, don't go. I've got the lieutenant on the line. He says you can have the body back for 60 rands. Do you want him?
Hello? Hello, Lieutenant Franzell.
All right, then, I'm sorry. Just help them. Have you seen the old man?
My love, that's it. I don't want to see the old man. I mustn't help him and you mustn't help him. We must draw the line, otherwise we'll drown. We can't survive.
Who survive? We survive.
Now you understand me. If Beatrice was sick, if his father was sick, if he wanted to build something, make something, grow something, learn something, maybe then I would lend him the money. And if things were really bad for him, give him the money. But moving his dead brother from that piece of land to this one here, what for? How long will Beatrice be with us? How long will we be here? What does the grave mean? Shut up. Hello, Beatrice. News for you, Beatrice. The lieutenant says you can have your brother back.
Thank you, my boss.
But for a price.
Excuse me, boss?
The police say you can have your brother, but you must pay 60 rand.
60 rand?
That's the message.
God's sake. Beatrice, the police say you can go and fetch your brother. You can bury him here. But they have to dig him up, and they say it'll cost 60 rands.
We must pay 60 rand.
You must pay 60 rand. Good day, Beatrice.
Here's your first money.
10 rand.
36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 42, 43, 44, 44,
45,
45, 46,
47.
47, my boss. 49, 51.
There it was the next morning.
3.
He had it all. There was Larissa's money, Albert's, his own. God knows who else's. Unfolded from coffee tins, mattresses and socks on farms and small holdings all around us. It only made me more angry at the waste, the uselessness of this sacrifice by people so poor.
60 baht. Thank you very much, my boss. Very much thank you, my boss. Please, my boss.
How much did you give him?
What the hell's it got to do with you?
Look, I'm moving back into town.
Do what you like.
Where's your gun? I'll check it for you.
Don't take it. Take it.
What's the matter with you?
Keep it. It's all yours. I don't want it near me. Do you want to know something? I want nothing, especially that. I don't want any protection. I don't want your revolver. I don't want you to pay Philemon to watch over me while I sleep. I don't want you to decide what my dangers are. Right. Perhaps someone does want to kill me. And perhaps it'll happen. I'll take even that risk above your protection.
Doris!
Listen. I intend to live. But if I have to concern myself with defending myself with that, I'll go. I want to live. Here, now. And you interfere with my life. I will not live with your decisions. I will not live in anticipation of your disasters. You are my disasters. Your ignorance, profanity, the death you breathe. Petrus suffers them. They all suffer them. I suffer them. And if I've got to be somewhere, I want to be with them, not with you. You are the danger. The only danger that is real to me. No! Listen. I don't know where you can go. Where I can go. All I know is it won't be with you.
She hasn't spoken to me since. I went to town that morning and stayed that night. From what I know, Larice went with them to fetch the body. It was delivered all very neatly sealed by the undertakers. No sign or smell of 2 weeks of death.
The
next day, Saturday, Larice went out to collect the mourners. This included the servants. So when I came home, there was nobody to tell me about the funeral. I was practicing my approach shots when they arrived at the tiny graveyard. A relic of days when our farm was part of a true farming community.
Wesifazane ngokwenyama uyawukufa nawukufa okuzele ngokwesifazane ngokwenyama uyawukufa nawukufa uyawukufa nawukufa eva ilizwi livela ezulwini lisithi kum Sorema bala ukuthi
Sorema kwazi baba Sorema kwazi
bafile enkosini
Sorema wayithenyi namkomo wakho
umoya
Sekera Thetha phansi Yandiya ngipongokere Wayithenyi namkomo wakho Yandiya ngipongokere Ethi Sorema baba Ashimngwanayo Ashimngwanami Wayithenyi namkomo wami Uyandiya mngwanangu Pusha mrungu Ethi Sorema mrungu wakho Ethi Sorema baba Sorema baba Pusha mrungu wakho Sorema baba Uyandiya Andiya mngwanangu My father wants to know where is his son Uyandiya mngwanangu Ethi Sorema Urikuphi mngwanangu Too heavy it is not his son
Masilalelani madoda
Urikuphi mngwanangu Urikuphi Urikuphi mngwanangu Sorema baba Andiya mngwanangu He says it's not his son Andiya mngwanangu He says it's not his son Urikuphi mngwanangu He says where is his son Please Chenjera bo baba Andiya mngwanangu Chenjera baba Chenjera Oya ngingwanangu Chenjera bo baba andi chenjera
Yes, I will inquire. Miss Lindemann will inquire, but Lieutenant Fonseca will stop answering our calls because they don't know where the body is. Hello. Petrus has asked me if I can get his money back for him. Maybe we will. But most of it goes to the undertaker anyway. He did his job. He made no mistakes. Hello. You know what I realized watching the old man down there? He's just about your father's size. And you remember that old suit of your father's? Hello.
Today. But that was made by a South African novelist, Nadine Gordimer. And supposedly these films were packaged, there were films based on the short stories that she wrote, and they were packaged and distributed on television and in some theaters. And it won an award in Chicago at a film festival there. Fascinating. So we have a little South African story to tell. This was years ago, probably 10 years ago. A guy approached us about digitizing some film that he had, some home movies, and he came and I think he came from a couple hours away. So he came and was kind of talking to us while we were transferring the films. And he was talking about, he's like, oh yeah, like seeing all the 16mm films. He's like, yeah, I used to work at a rental place where we would rent 16mm films to the public. And I was like, wow, really? So you would, like, yeah, we would rent a projector and feature films and TV shows and things like that. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. So it was like a video rental store, but it was 16mm film. Now I know that many libraries would do this in the United States, but this was a for pay gig. Now the interesting thing was that he was tasked with censoring movies and TV shows that the government did not approve of, and specifically censoring for nudity, explicit sex, but also for political content. Anything that could potentially be revolutionary or reactionary to the current government in South Africa in the 70s was clipped out or not shown at all. He had supposedly a big reel of stuff that he had clipped out, and I was like, oh my God, please tell me that you brought that to the States. And he's like, no, it got lost when I moved several times. And I'm like, oh. So anyways, it wasn't great to be in South Africa at that point, not at all. And there's definitely some accounts about it, and this is kind of an interesting, it wasn't a kid's film, obviously. It was kind of made for maybe high school students or college students. But thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Not everything is about how to make old recipes new with lemon juice, but, you know, we mix it up here at AV Geeks. Everybody have a great rest of your day and weekend, and we'll be back on Monday. If you like what you saw, or at least were interested by the concept of what we're doing, you can go to ko-fi.com/avgeeks. You can also go to patreon.com/avgeeks, and that helps us buy things like plastic 16mm cores we put films on, or new plastic cans that are archival to replace the rusty metal cans. You can also hit the super thanks button and donate that way, but also just hit the thumbs up, the like button, the subscribe button. All those ways social media lets you say, yes, I like this thing. Everybody have a great rest of your week. As always, oh, it's the Rewind Devil. Oh boy. Oh boy. The Rewind Devil. We found this in a film can, but this is what we want. Please rewind, love each other, happy smiley face with eyelashes, and we will see you on Monday. Everybody take care.